بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Tonight I'd like to share with you something that really fascinates me in my journey in the Quran. There are many things that fascinate me, but this is one that I wanted to share with you tonight, and I think some of you have experienced that phenomenon in going through the Quran, the inimitable book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no book like it. And what I'm going to share with you tonight is just my fascination. I come to this subject not as a scholar. I never have studied tafsir. I have not studied the Islamic sciences at all. I'm your common average reader of the Quran. So I bring to you what I found, and possibly we can discuss. We share certain findings in journeying through the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What I want to share tonight is about symmetries, variations, and silence. The thing that fascinates me in going through the Quran is observing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives His message to us by saying some things. So we learn what He intends from us by what He tells us. But also, that is what really brings me here tonight. We also learn from what He does not tell us. We also learn from what He doesn't say. And that is what, for lack of a better word, I'll call silence. It's not really appropriate, but I want you to just keep that as a way to understand what I'm trying to say tonight. So what He says and what He doesn't say, and also how He says it. So we learn the meanings of the Quran from what Allah says in al-fadh, in His words, but also the way He brings that to us is itself an unsaid meaning, which if you ponder, you look at things, you will find out meanings that are really profound, not by saying it, but by not saying it, or the way He says it, Allah Azza wa Jal. A few days ago, or a week ago, Imam Bilal drew our attention to a verse from the Quran that everybody is familiar with.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات والصابرين والصابرات والخاشعين والخاشعات والمتصدقين والمتصدقات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما.
Subhanallah. This is probably the most symmetrical verse in the Quran in which you have al-Muslimina wal-Muslimina wal-Muslimati. male, female, male, female, male, female. It builds a rhythm of expectation. You're lulled by it. There's such equality in terms of just even the terms used, this and that, this and that, this and that. And at the end, that's what Imam Bilal said to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lafd al-Jalal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned in the last one, having to do with dhikr. Allah is not mentioned in any of the other ones. Rhythm is very constant. And then at the last instance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes that rhythm, that symmetry, and introduces a new element in this beautiful ayah, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it comes to dhikr. Comes to dhikr, Allah is mentioned. Imam Bilal seems to believe that the use of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it comes to dhikr foregrounds, emphasizes the importance of dhikr. It's not said in the verse. There are no words in the verse that tell you dhikr is so important. But when Imam Bilal read this verse, it struck him that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned when it came to dhikr. A few days he said that on Mimbar there. And I said to myself, I've been reading this verse for such a long time. I never noticed this. I never noticed this. And this happens all the time. I'm sure it's true for you as well. One day you notice something that was there for years and years with you. One day it pops up. And you wonder, why now? Why now? Why not before? But I've been thinking of this verse for another reason, which I'm not going to talk about tonight, also having to do with symmetry. وَالذَّاكِرِينَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا وَالذَّاكِرَاتِ. Allah does not mention Allah in the case of dhakirat. The rhythm is broken. The rhythm is broken. I don't want to get into this because this might entail some tafsir and ilm balagha, the balagha of the Arabic language, but you still sense this kind of rupture, this kind of discontinuity in the rhythm and the cadence of the verses of Allah, the words as they flow like rivers. There's a break there. And I've been thinking about this for a long time. Why? But I never saw what Imam Bilal saw. And that really, really fascinated me. So this is, in essence, what I mean by symmetries and variations. The symmetry and the variations. And in that are meanings that are very powerful, which I myself do not have the science to dwell into, just to draw attention to that phenomenon. Let me bring you to something that you're all familiar with, Al-Fatiha.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Subhanallah, this discovery happened to me recently. Of course, I've been doing Fatiha for almost all my life, but I realized very recently that الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ, those you blessed. Allah uses here an action. He blessed them. He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, blessed them. And then you have two other kinds of people. The first is al-maghdubi alayhim. And the last is ad-dallin. In the first case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses a verb. And in that verb, He is rhetorically present there. You blessed them. A verb. There is no verb in the last two. There's no verb. It struck me that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses a verb in the case of the ones He blessed. He blessed them. It's very clear. What did He do to the other people? These verses have exercised translators. How do you translate al-maghdubu alayhim? What are you saying? Allah what? Contrary to what a lot of translators say, it does not say Allah is upset with them. Allah is not there. It's not mentioned in Al-Fadh. Al-maghdubu alayhim, it's as if they have a quality of ghadab in them. So from a verb, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, bless them. For these ones, the verb is not there. There is a transition. There's a variation in the treatment of the first category of people and the treatment of the two last categories of people. That treatment is not said. It is something else. It is the words and the type of words Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used, and quote unquote the absence of the mention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in relationship to them. What could have been said in a normal book is Allah is upset with them. الَّذِينَ غَضِبْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ, the ones you are upset with. And you can say الَّذِينَ أَضْلَلْتَهُمْ, He caused them to go astray, but Allah does not say that in this Al-Fadh. Again, what does that mean? I'm not qualified. But for one thing, I know for sure that these three sets of people are very different in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The way Allah relates to them is radically different. Not just because of the words He uses, but certain things, I can't even express it. It's just, you feel a distance. You feel a distance between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the last two people. Not mentioned, but by the way the words flow and the type of words that go. Al-maghdubu alayhim, how would you translate this? The angered upon, ad-dallin, the strayed ones, who cause them to astray. Allah is not associated linguistically with this phenomenon. That to me is very meaningful. But again, I lack the tools, I lack the tafsir sciences to get into this. But I cannot help seeing the beauty of the precision. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses words like me and you. Every choice of a word is measured. Every choice of a word is the exact word that conveys what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes to convey. So this is another example of what I mean by symmetry and variation. So this is not translatable. We cannot translate this al-maghdubi alayhim wa ad-dallin. It's very hard, especially maghdubi alayhim, almost impossible. You don't find words in languages that can convey the meaning of that as it is conveyed in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is where I really want us to end this journey and the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to us.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فإذا قضيتم مناسككم فاذكروا الله كذكركم آباءكم أو أشد ذكرا ذكرا فمن الناس من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا وما له في الآخرة من خلاق ومنهم من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار أولئك لهم نصيب مما كسبوا والله سريع الحساب.
Very, very perplexing. Very perplexing. Very engaging. فمن الناس من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا. Full stop. Oh Allah, give us in the world. ومنهم من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Please reflect on this on your own and see what's happening here. Again, a very different two sets of people are presented in these ayahs, and you can see the distance between one set and the other set as if it's the distance between the sun and the moon. Far apart. In the first case, the first set of people ask for dunya, right? Atina fi dunya. The other set of people ask for dunya and akhirah. Very different. Even more perplexing than that is that the ones who ask for dunya ask for nothing. Allahu Akbar. Atina fi dunya. And the ones who ask for the dunya and the akhirah, they ask for several things. For the dunya and the akhirah and a lot of things in that. Do you see what I see? It said in Jahiliyyah when the mushrikun, they finish their Hajj, their manasik, they say this: Rabbana atinya ibl. Give us a camel. Give us this. They don't believe in the akhirah. That's what they asked for. Allah does not mention that in the Quran. Allah is silent on that. As if to say what they're asking for is zero. Those whose concern is only the dunya, they're concerned with zero. Allah does not say it. When we look at this as a very ignorant reader of the Quran, I could not help seeing this absence, this emptiness. The desire of these people is completely empty and completely valueless. So valueless that Allah would not mention the Quran. It cannot have a space in the Quran. And you look at what the other people are saying, and they have everything. One great observation, brothers and sisters, that I found in the Quran, and you might correct me because you might be more familiar with the Quran, is that hasana, the word hasana, is never used only for dunya. I've not seen a verse in the Quran in which the word hasana, good things, as a word is used when it's only about dunya. What is used sometimes for the goods of this world is what? Thawabu dunya, thawab, not hasana. How, this is unbelievable. This is incredible. Please, if anybody knows an ayah in the Quran that has hasana only for the world, let me know. So in other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from my ignorant understanding, is saying things are only really, really good if they're connected to the dunya and the akhirah. If what we want in this world does not help us to go to Jannah, what we want in the world does not deserve to be called hasana. It's not good things. And so I just want to stop here and invite you who know the Quran better than I do, as you read along, to be more mindful of these issues of meanings coming from the Quran, not just what Allah says, but how Allah Azza wa Jal sees them, and sometimes when things are not mentioned, how that silence itself has profound meanings from the hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to use that silence to convey meanings as opposed to using words. Subhan rabbika bil izzati amma yasifun, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.